Commander Jake Miller stood on the bridge of his ship looking at the stars beyond the glass window. The mission to planet Zara 7 was supposed to be simple, but nothing in space was ever simple. His crew of 20 humans had come here to study the local alien culture and maybe set up trade routes. The planet below was beautiful with purple skies and silver oceans. The people who lived there called themselves the Zarani, and they looked almost human but with pale blue skin and bright golden eyes. Their leader was Princess Lyra, who ruled over millions of her people. When Jake first met Princess Lyra 3 days ago, his heart nearly stopped beating. She was tall and graceful, with long silver hair that moved like water. Her golden eyes seemed to see right through him, and her voice was soft like music. The princess wore robes made of some shimmering fabric that changed colors as she moved. The meeting was in the great crystal palace that rose high into the purple sky. Princess Lyra sat on a throne made of what looked like carved moonlight. Her advisors stood nearby watching the humans with careful eyes. Jake had expected the usual diplomatic talk about trade and peace agreements, but Princess Lyra had other ideas. She stood up from her throne and walked down the steps slowly. Her eyes never left Jake as she moved closer. The other humans in his team shifted nervously, but Jake stood his ground. He was the commander, and he would not show fear. When she reached him, Princess Lyra stopped just an arm's length away. Her golden eyes studied his face like she was trying to memorize every detail. The silence stretched on until finally she spoke. "Tell me, human commander," she said, her voice carrying across the huge throne room. "Mao, does one of your kind choose a mate?" The question hit Jake like a punch to the stomach. His second-in-command, Amy Rodriguez, nearly choked on her own breath. The Zarani advisors began whispering among themselves in their musical language. Jake cleared his throat and tried to answer diplomatically. "Your Highness, among humans, we usually spend time getting to know each other first. We share interests and build trust over time." Princess Lyra smiled, and the expression made her face even more beautiful. "I see," she said, stepping even closer. "So you believe in what your people call love, yes?" Jake replied, wondering where this was going. "Love is important to us." The princess nodded slowly. "Then I must ask you something that will shock your human sensibilities." She paused and took a deep breath. "Tell me how I can be your bride, human." The throne room went completely silent. Jake felt like the floor had disappeared from under his feet. Behind him, he could hear Amy muttering something that sounded like this. "Can't be happening." The Zarani advisors had stopped whispering and were staring at their princess with wide eyes. "Your Highness," Jake started, but Princess Lyra held up her hand. "Let me explain," she said, her voice now carrying more authority. "I have studied your species for many cycles since we first detected your ships in our star system. Humans are remarkable in ways my people cannot understand. You face dangers that would terrify us, yet you do it with courage that seems impossible." She began walking in a slow circle around Jake as she spoke. "Your people explore the unknown not because you have to, but because something inside you demands it. You create art and music and stories that move the heart. You fight against overwhelming odds, and sometimes you win simply because you refuse to give up." Jake stood perfectly still as she circled him like a predator studying prey. But her words were not threatening. They were filled with something he had not expected: respect and admiration. "My people live for thousands of years," Princess Lyra continued, "but we have become careful and cautious. We avoid risk and prefer safety above all else. We have forgotten what it means to truly live. Your humans, with your short lives, burn bright like stars." She stopped in front of him again, and her golden eyes met his. "I have watched you these past days, Commander Miller. I have seen how you lead your people with both strength and kindness. I have seen how you face the unknown with excitement rather than fear. You represent everything my people have lost." Jake found his voice. "Your Highness, I am honored by your words, but marriage between our species would be complicated. There are biological differences, cultural differences." Princess Lyra smiled again. "My scientists have already studied this. The biological differences are not as great as you might think. As for cultural differences," she stepped closer until he could smell the strange, sweet scent she wore. Love has a way of bridging such gaps. The commander felt, his heart racing. This was not how first contact missions were supposed to go. He was trained for negotiations, trade agreements, maybe even conflicts. But no one had prepared him for an alien princess who wanted to marry him. "Your Highness," he said. "Carefully, even if such a thing were possible, I barely know you, then know me," she replied. Her voice was soft now, almost a whisper. "Ask me anything you wish, I will answer." Truthfully, Jake looked into her golden eyes and saw something there that made his chest tighten. It was not just attraction or political ambition, it was something deeper, something that looked very much like hope. "Why me?" he asked. "Why not one of your own people?" "Because my people have forgotten how to dream," she answered. "They live their long lives in safety and comfort, but they do not truly live. You humans, with your brief time in this universe, make every moment count. You have something we have lost, the fire that makes life worth living." She reached out slowly and touched his hand. Her skin was warm despite its blue color. "I have been alone for over 2 centuries waiting for someone who could reignite that fire in my heart. When I saw you walk into my throne room, I knew you were that someone." Jake looked down at her, hand on his. The touch sent electricity through his entire body. He had felt attraction before, but this was different. This was something that seemed to bypass his mind and speak directly to his soul. Princess Lyra seemed to sense his internal struggle. "Tell me, human," she said, "do you feel nothing when you look at me? Does your heart not respond to mine?" Jake met her eyes again and knew he could not lie. "Yes," he said quietly. "I feel something. But this is happening too fast. Your people and mine have just met. Time moves differently for the Zorani," she replied. "We can sense connections that humans might take months to recognize. What you feel in moments we have felt across the years since we first learned of your existence." She turned to address the throne room filled with both humans and Zorani. "I propose an alliance between our peoples," she announced. "Not just of trade or territory, but of hearts and minds. Let our races learn from each other. Let the courage of humanity inspire the Zorani to dream again. And let the wisdom of the Zorani help humanity reach even greater heights." The throne room erupted in whispers and discussions. Jake could see his crew members looking at each other with expressions ranging from shock to excitement. The Zorani advisors seemed to be debating among themselves in their musical language. Princess Lyra turned back to Jake. "What say you, Commander? Will you help me bridge the gap between our worlds? Will you teach me what it means to love as humans?" Jake looked at this incredible woman who had just proposed to him in front of 2 entire species. He thought about his duty to humanity, about the complications this would cause, about the reports he would have to write. Then he looked into her golden eyes again and saw the universe of possibilities waiting there. "Princess Lyra," he said, his voice carrying across the silent throne room. "I cannot give you an answer today, but I can promise you this. I will stay. I will learn about your people as you learn about mine, and we will see where this connection between us leads." The princess smiled, and it was like watching the sun rise. "Yes," she said, "that is all I ask. Let us discover together what it means when 2 hearts from different worlds choose to beat as ones." Jake looked around the throne room at the faces of humans and Zorani, all watching this historic moment. He realized that first contact had just become something far more complicated and far more wonderful than anyone had ever imagined.